Chapter 22. The Second Heaven and the Eighth Teacher, the Priest of God. In heaven there is deep wisdom known to few, and so it is guarded by guides where this wisdom is concealed. So why would it be important for such secrets to be hidden? Each heaven had a hidden seal. There was not a lock or physical key, but opening each seal seemed to be connected to a deep labyrinth. So when it comes to these hidden seals, what was it that Solomon was doing?
He would find different spirits, jinn or kami, then tame them, and in turn, they would train him,
said Arda. And who was Solomon exactly?
He was a great magician, but he also humbly referred to himself as a simple man,
said Arda. What do you mean, magician?
He understood the powers of spirit, both upon earth and beyond the material world. Then these spirits would partner with him, and often he concealed the spirits behind secret seals. It's difficult to open a seal, which makes this occurrence quite auspicious, because through this journey they are opening,
said Arda. After Solomon tamed these spirits, what would he do with them?
I wouldn't say he was in control of them, but he would listen closely to them. Come with me, and I'll reveal the true nature of such wisdom,
said Arda. Arda led me to a great garden within the clouds, and there I saw the steps to a temple. One man waited, and his life was a living example. Behind the temple was a beautiful mountain, and we were not even halfway up as we approached a soul so simple. And as I gazed up to the pinnacle of the mountain, there I saw a light glowing from the mountain's peak that was transcendental. If this is a temple of God, then are you God's priest? I am what I am, yet it is not who I am that is most important, but rather what I do. And so I serve and teach, as I am in service of you, said the priest. Arda and I followed this man into the temple, which had 2 giant pillars, 7 lampstands, and a divine table. Is this a hidden place? Not hidden, but only some beings find the way into Solomon's temple. Such a path is not so easy to find, yet the path into the heart is quite simple, said the priest. The sacred priest led us to an altar, and there I saw the book covered with eyes. There was a title upon it. This was the Book of Life. What is it? It is the story, written in poetic allegory, and such an honest account of one's life stirs up quite a bit of controversy. We are like books, and most people only see our covers. Some will read a chapter, while most will believe the critics, and only few will know our true content. Charlatans often criticize the nature of such spiritual stories. Such a story may trigger a person's deepest beliefs. What the Book of Life does is that it reveals the true nature of our path. It is the most intimate account to find union with the divine. It takes us through the 7 heavens of an ancient labyrinth. All the while, a story can teach us. It leads people to where the soul has yet to go. Of course, we are working to rid ourselves of the unhealthy ego, but look at the actions of such critics, as they too teach from their own personal stories. For those who are wise and hear such a story as the Book of Life, they will simply listen without accepting or rejecting, said the priest. What is it that you're suggesting? What I'm suggesting is that stories are a way of gaining perspective about our lives. In this way, we can see how the incarnation is the soul's work. I listen to hear what is my work and how to do it impeccably, said the priest of life. So what's within the Book of Life? I'll give you a hint. This isn't science fiction. The priest winked.
Do you remember the seals, where Solomon hid the jinn?
Said Arda. Then this book is it? This is the power of myth, said the priest. Well, what is it? It's almost finished. We are getting closer each and every day. And so the way we behave is what the words say, said the priest. What is the power of myth? The power of myth is always changing, and myths evolve for all of time to come. Things change fast in life, and myths symbolize who we are and what we've undergone. Each individual has to find an aspect of myth that relates to his or her life. Myth serves as 4 functions. The first is the mythical function, when we realize what a wonder the universe is, and what a wonder you are along with all of life. And so we experience awe before this mystery. Myth opens the world to the realization of the mystery that underlies all form in the material world. If you lose that, you don't have a mythology. If mystery is to manifest through all things, the universe becomes, as it were, a holy picture. You are always addressing the transcendent mystery through the conditions of your actual world. The second function is the cosmological dimension, the dimension with which science is concerned, showing you the shape of the universe, but showing it in such a way that the mystery again comes through. Today we tend to think that scientists have all the answers, but the great ones tell us, no, we haven't got all the answers. They tell us how it works, but what is it? When you strike a match, what is fire exactly? You can tell me about the oxidation, but that doesn't tell us a thing. The third function is the sociological one, supporting and validating a certain social order. And here's where the myths vary enormously from place to place. You have a whole mythology for polygamy and a whole mythology for monogamy. It is this sociological function of myth that has taken over in the material world, and it is out of date. The world is relying on stories from people who lived thousands of years ago, yet the ways of the modern world are so different from the lives lived back then. The world has planes, internet, phones, videos, famous stars, cruise ships, and information that can be transmitted at the click of a button. In such new times, new myths are acquired. People, churches, and religions are getting caught on things that happened 2,000 years ago. We argue over whether Christ was killed on a pole or a cross. We debate whether the Savior is Muhammad, or a Jewish person, or Jesus, or an avatar from India. Yet we forget to look inward and see the miracle that lives within all souls. The reason the old texts and myths are out of date is because of the ethical laws, or the laws of life as it should be in a good society. All of Yahweh's pages and pages and pages of what kind of clothes to wear, and so forth, are from the first millennia BC. These scriptures don't address women's rights, gun violence, nuclear weapons, or the dangers of AI and other technology. And so, there is a fourth function of myth, and this is the one that I think everyone must try to relate to, and that is the instructional function of how to live a human life under any circumstance. Myths can teach you that, said the priest. So when it comes to the old stories, can you speak to the ways in which they're functioning? Such stories account for the times in which they were written, but the thread that continues on is called wisdom. Such wisdom should be related to each age, as stories may get outdated. This way, we have modern representations of the wisdom where people can learn and listen. The Bible belongs to the first millennium BC, and so we must get back into accord with the wisdom of nature and realize again that our brotherhood and sisterhood exists in union with all people, all animals, and with the waters, earth, and the sea. To say that the divinity informs the world while nature is condemned as pantheism is to overlook the miracle of God's entire creation. But of course, pantheism is a misleading word. Rather, there is an idea from the Tao Te Ching that says, one gives birth to two, the two gives birth to three, and three gives birth to all universal things. All things are of God's creation, and so all things have the soul of God within them. Myths, then, are traditional stories which explain natural or social phenomena, which involve supernatural beings or events. So everything that happened long ago in Scripture is extremely valuable and must not be thrown out. Rather, we should use both modern and ancient wisdom to discover what the nature of creation is really about, said the priest. So how do such myths help us out? People say that we are seeking meaning for our lives, but I think what we're seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the pure physical plane will have resonances with our innermost being and reality, so that we actually feel the rapture of being alive. That's what it's finally about. Myths are clues to the spiritual potentials of human life. That's the power of our stories, said the priest. But why aren't we taught about myths in school as children? What children learn in school is not the wisdom of life. Mythology is a song. It is the song of the imagination, inspired by the energies of a body. Once a Zen master stood up before his students and was about to deliver a sermon. And just as he was about to open his mouth, a bird sang. The Zen master said, "The sermon has been delivered," said the priest. Is there some common essence which the great myths are trying to teach us? The journey inward. One thing that comes out of myths is at the bottom of the abyss comes the voice of salvation. The dark moment is the moment when the real message of transformation is going to come. At the darkest moment comes the light. Isn't it fascinating that the basis of all religion has one common aim? Uniting with God. Yet they all happen to be separated. That's utterly fascinating, because they are all speaking about the deep mystery. Then every so often, someone comes along and exposes part of this great mystery, and it smashes society's fixed notion of things. Once this happens, new stories, new accounts, and new traditions are born. When we study the accounts of these great beings, we almost always see how they've moved out of the society that would have protected and directed them, and they went back into the dark forest, into the world of fire, of original experience. Original experience has not been interpreted for a person, and so they go into the unknown to work out the mystery of life for themselves. And you don't have to go far off the beaten path to find yourself in a very difficult situation. Jesus went out into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. Moses went to Mount Sinai, and Prophet Muhammad went on a night journey, which was thought to be both a physical and spiritual journey. Muhammad is said to have traveled on the back of a winged horse, where he was led to prophets, including Abraham, Moses, and Jesus in prayer, said the priest. But I don't understand where these journeys begin. They come from the imagination of the intuition, which is the same basis of creation. God was said to have created the universe and the world in 7 days, but before that, was there nothing? And so God's creation is very much aligned with the essence of imagination. When someone has the courage to go beyond what they've been told and to journey into the unknown, they touch the edge of imagination, and this is where all things are grown. Imagine how a building becomes constructed. It is made from the depths of the mind, and so in order to create any idea, you must first go inward into the imagination to see what you can find. It has been said that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when creating them. That leads us into the imagination, and so we are brought before the great mystery of the Temple of Solomon, said the priest. At once there came a great light, and this was fire. It was centered in front of the priest upon the sacred altar. In order to get a glimpse of the unfathomable, you must be brave enough to let go of what you previously had come to know. Some critics may call you a beast for this, yet who comes alone, opening the seals of Solomon and carrying the staff of Moses, said the priest. What are you speaking of? Mythologically, we could call it the symbol of magical operations. All magical operations are said to be performed through the power of the divine, and before such an experiment comes to light, the operator must confess her or his sins and purge their self of evil and invoke the protection of God. From here, the appropriate materials should be obtained in the prescribed manner, at the appropriate astrological time, marked with a specific set of magical systems, and blessed with your own specific words, said the priest. What are you getting at? Solomon caught spirits and put them under certain seals, and yet, with the imagination, you've become aligned with 7 of them, and only by your words will the spirits appear, said the priest. Which 7? They are guardians of the 7 heavens, and so one level after the other, you pass through 4 teachers in each of the heavens, and upon meeting them, you release one of them, said the priest. What do you mean, release them? Such mysteries cannot be explained, but rather such guardians do respect and admire a mortal who is brave. It is rare for them to be interested in the matters of earth, and so they willingly descend if summoned in the correct way. Since all eyes in the 7 heavens can gaze upon all life, we've been able to watch all along, as you took the journey inward, and there through the actions of your life, you sang the Song of Songs. 7 spirits caught on. They were watching to see if you would fulfill the proper requirements, tests, and tasks. They would challenge you to see how likely you were to turn away or head back. Yet you did not quit. Instead, you went forward. What you thought was a physical labyrinth was actually a journey across the earth into the spiritual worlds, said the priest. What do you mean about requirements and tests? The first spirit took your money. The second required a sacrifice to enter you into the big show. The third was going to get your family ready, and by the fourth, the entire world was ready to go. 5 was about the children of life, and 6 had a mercurial nature that no one could predict, said the priest. And 7? What about 7? 7 is about heaven, said the priest. With that, the priest raised the second seal, then he held it in the fire. There the spirit was released, when the dark woman of the storm was no longer concealed. Free and open, she found a home in my heart.
Isn't life beautiful? I've come to remind all beings of our greatest work of art,
she said. Have you ever seen a storm pictured from above? It can appear to be so beautiful and elegant. This is certainly different to the ground level view, which can be quite a violent experience.
Trust what you may not understand. After any great storm, comes the onset of tranquility and peace. Humanity may not want what I've come to deliver, but after this storm, they will find the relief the world so desperately needs,"
said the dark woman who came out from the seal.